Okay, now that you know how to create curved lines using the pen tool and the anchor point tool, and create some freehand lines using the pencil tools, let's go ahead and use one more new tool to work on the eye of the skeleton down here. First, you're going to use the Ellipse tool. The Ellipse tool is a fancy way of saying circle, and it's hiding out here with the other shapes behind the rectangle tool. If you don't see a rectangle here, you may see any one of these other shapes: rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, star, or flare. We want the Ellipse tool, and we want to create a perfect circle here. So we're going to hold down the Shift key, click and drag to form our circle. Once we've got our circle, we can, as before, because this circle is selected, change the stroke weight to be a little bit heavier, and use the selection tool, or black arrow, to move this around and get it lined up basically with our tracing guide. Take a second right now, pause the video, and use the Ellipse tool to draw the circle in the center of your flower. Then come back and restart the video. Okay, now you've got your perfect circle in the middle. Use the selection tool to click off that perfect circle and either click on the pen tool or press P on your keyboard to get the pen tool back. Now we're going to create a star of sorts around this flower, just like we created a flower out of the stars before. So we'll drop an anchor point here in the circle, click and let go. We'll go to the top of the flower petal and click and let go. Back down to the base of the petal, click and let go. Click and let go, and continue this until we have a 6-pointed star that we will soon convert to a 6-pointed flower. Now, with your star here, you'll notice that the circle in the middle is missing. And the reason for that is that we have a fill color of white here. When you think something has disappeared, always check your stroke and fill colors. So I'm going to click on our fill color and make sure that it is completely hollowed out. Now our circle star looks a lot more flower-like. Let's make this star into a flower by using the anchor point tool and the top anchor on each petal and just pulling directly out. If you get a figure 8, move the other way and play with it a little bit until your stars begin to look like petals. They don't have to perfectly line up, but you do want them to look nice and symmetrical and round. So again, click on the top anchor and pull out to get the petal effect. Click on the top anchor and pull out to get the petal effect. And here on my last petal, get the petal effect. So now's a good time to stop. Use the pen tool to draw your star by making a starburst over each petal. Then make sure that the shape is not filled in by changing the center color to clear. And finally, use the anchor point tool to round out each of the petals. Then come back to the video here and play again. Now that you have the nice round petals, there's just 2 more things to do to perfect this flower. First, if any of your flower petals are sticking into the center of your circle or don't look quite right, you can always use the direct selection tool or hit the A on your keyboard. You can then grab specific anchors and move them in a little bit, even them out, play with handles on one side. If you've got something that's sticking into the center, you can grab that specific anchor and pull it back out until your flower looks just the way you'd like it to. The next thing to do, after you've used the direct selection tool to modify each petal, is to grab the pencil and quickly draw the stems in the center of each flower. If they come out wiggly or wavy, like mine, don't worry too much, because you can always use the smooth tool here in order to smooth them out. It's the twisty pencil, if you will. Draw right over the line, and you'll get a nice smooth effect on your tool. Now that you've learned the Ellipse tool and the pen tool, the anchor point tool, and direct selection tools to make these kind of curves and circles and lines and smooth lines, why don't you put some of that to work and make your eye a bit more of an original? For me, I'd like this flower to fit inside the eye socket. So I'm going to go ahead. The only other thing I'd like to teach you here is with the selection tool, draw a box over the pieces we want. Notice that if you draw a box too big, you'll pick up pieces you don't want. Click off and draw a box that just touches all the pieces you want. And then press S on your keyboard. Then you can click anywhere, and if you hold down Shift, you can make your flower a bit, well, I didn't hold down Shift there, so it went a little wonky. I'm going to hit Control Z. You can hold down Shift and make your flower a little bit smaller by keeping it proportional. Maybe now I want to use the Ellipse tool. Click off of that shape and use the Ellipse tool here and draw a circle around the eye to get a perfect eye socket. Don't forget to check the fill color to make sure that it's clear, and use a direct selection tool to move it if you need to. You can decorate the eye further if you so choose by using the pen tool like we have before, creating the petals around it just like we did with the flowers, adjusting the petals. Maybe you like the sharp lines and you want to leave some decoration there. That's totally up to you. Use the different tools that you have used in all the different sections of the video to decorate your right eye, any way that you'd like to make it look a little bit original.